Good evening. My name is Kadaria Ahmed, and this is Straight Talk. On Monday, 7th July 2005, almost 10 years ago, terrorists targeted London, unleashing coordinated attacks on the London public transport system, including the underground trains and a bus. 52 people lost their lives in the carnage, among them 26-year-old Fatayi Williams. An oil executive with a bright and promising future, Anthony was also clearly beloved by his friends and family, who describe him as very loving and completely selfless. His mother searched for news of her son in the aftermath of the bombings, and her subsequent calls to end this vicious circle of killings touched many people around the world deeply, leading to an outpouring of support for her and her family that continues till today. In her determination to make good out of evil, she has since set up a peace foundation in her son's memory. I am very honored today to have with me Dame Marie Fatayi Williams. Ma'am, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you, Kadaria.
I know this is not easy for you, so I'm really, really grateful that you agreed to do this interview.
Thank you.
What do you remember about that terrible day almost 10 years ago in 2005 and the days leading to conclusive information that indeed Anthony had become a victim of terror?
If you know that Anthony, as you do know, that he was my first son, my only son, my first child as well, you would understand that I would have been completely distraught, not wanting to think of the worst, which of course I held on to faith, to life for as long as I could until my public outburst, and then eventually the news came. So it was like my life was on hold, but I was holding on to God in faith. Not that I'm saying now that God did not do right or whatever, no, don't get me wrong, but I held on because my faith was what kept me and is what has kept me to date. But I was a distraught woman. I was completely devastated, shocked.
Many people, when they face tragedy, such as the sort that you faced and your family faced, find that actually their faith is tested. You seem to be saying that actually this might have strengthened your faith?
Yeah, at the end of the day it has, because if I haven't gone bonkers and I haven't lost it and I haven't become a nervous wreck and I haven't become unforgiving, and I haven't thought that the world is wicked and everybody else that is wicked and every Muslim person is evil because it was like as if it was an Islamic person that killed Anthony, then I must have faith. And it must be some super ordinary being or that is looking after me. And I held on to my faith, and really, without God, I would be nowhere, nowhere, nowhere. I can tell you that.
Do you forgive the people who did this to Anthony?
If I can pronounce the name of the guy who bombed Anthony off, Hasib Hussein, I can talk about him, because I remember the words of Pope John Paul II. He says, peace, love have two pillars, justice and the major one, forgiveness. There's no forgiveness, there can be no peace. There's no justice, there can be no peace. And if I didn't forgive, what would that do to me? I would be eaten up so badly, so bitterly, that I would not be able to be here with you, for example, today. So my faith teaches me forgiveness. The Our Father that is given to us by Jesus himself taught us, our Father who art in heaven, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those that trespass against us. It doesn't come easy. Forgiveness, you can say it, oh, I forgive. It's not easy. You got to work at it. After the outpouring of love and support from everyone all over the world, his friends, across faith, across creed, across culture, people whom I knew nothing about, who I never thought I would meet. They were sending letters to me in the mail, just to Anthony's mother, and they would drop it for me. They would send to ITN, to BBC, to this. I got all the mails, and I'm like, hey, who was this boy that I had as my son? And like they say, children are a gift from God.
Did you eventually manage to communicate with the mother of this boy who carried this bomb and blew himself off?
She didn't want to meet with me eventually.
She didn't want to meet
so
you.
That's why I was ready to meet with her. But eventually she didn't want to, and I let her be.
Now, Anthony's dad is, of course, a Muslim. What did this do to his faith, the fact that his son was killed in the name of Islam?
You see, my husband is a very quiet man of few words most times, but he's a very deep, deep thinker. He finds it very troubling to say, how does he explain this? What could be the reason behind it? That doesn't make him a worse religious person, but it's like he is asking himself questions to want to understand what could this actually be in the name of a religion, which I don't think he thinks it is, but it's like, but why even within the faith there is intolerance?
So he's doing a lot of soul searching.
Yeah, just not only him, just like most people.
Most people, yes.
Yes. So when you link that back up to the fact that his own son was killed, for goodness sake, by an Islamic young man.
I mean, what was clear during this particular horrific attack was that there was something that came through, and this was the sort of deep passion and love that you had as a family together and for your son. Have you managed to retain that? Has this tragedy brought you guys closer together?
It has brought us together, but of course there are times we're only humans that it has driven us apart, in the sense that I'm like, not driven us with the children or whatever, because my daughters, that's his sisters, have their own, they're like in a cocoon of their own, you know, they feel the pain much. My husband and I, at times I believe that I'm like, does he really feel my pain? It does happen, because I'm like, because men are easy, maybe I don't assess him properly, because men can go off and do other things and feel...
They're taught to put up a front, aren't
yes.
they? They're taught to be masculine
exactly.
and strong.
And I'm like, hey, this is me here, you know, it's my son, Anthony, our first child. And there was once I had to say, but do you know what pain I'm going through? And for once he said, no, I'm not going through any pain you think. And that was when I had to take a rain check to say, okay, he is human after all. We both, it's our loss. Both of us are lost. So, yeah, there are times we've grown apart, but of course, we are more together as a family in our pain. Because if we hadn't been together as a family in our pain, we would not have been able to pull through. We had to be there for the girls had to be there for us, and we had to be there for each other. Tough as it is.
Yeah, what is the most difficult thing about his absence in your life and that of the rest of the family?
I wish I could say it, because you know, like in Yoruba land, when you have a first son, a first child, you call him my husband, or Okomi, you know? So he took more or less the place of my husband in my life, so to say. So you can imagine when you say people lose their husbands and you say, I've lost my son, he was like my pillar, you know? I would like, it's like I look at him and he understands what I'm thinking of. He spoke French, I speak French, and if we didn't want anybody else in the family, especially his dad, to know what we were talking about, we had our moments of speaking French together. That was our passport to our language. You know. So you can imagine the bond. And for the first 5 years of his life, he was like on my apron string. So we were very close, very, very, very close. And I miss everything about him. His humor, his love, his care, his smile, his shoulders, his broad shoulders, where he will enfold me and says, Mami, you know. I end up being very lonely just thinking that he's not there. And there are times I take my phone, oh, I'll call Anthony. Oh, no, I can't call Anthony.
You remember he's not
Yes,
there.
to share something is really bothering me and I don't want to share with anybody. Oh, I would look back. I wish Anthony were here. I would have told him this and he would have known what to tell me. Valentine's Day in particular, I miss him the most because the last Valentine, February 2005, he gave me the most excellent bouquet you can ever think of, surprise, whatever, from his office. I was in London, and then the doorbell rang, and then this huge bouquet came with a vase from Interflora, and they set it up and everything. I says, from who? He says, look at the card. And I looked at the card. It was nothing, just the normal. He put one long, silly thing there. You know, I thought, ooh. And then my phone rang. Mommy, have you received it? I says, Anthony, so you did that. I thought as much. I thought it was you. He says, so now you let me go off this evening because you know I've got to go and do my own Valentine as well. I just didn't want you to feel lonely, and that's my gift. I can never, ever forget that day. And as if he knows that every Valentine's Day from then on, something has happened that has made me know that, oh, Anthony did that because he wants me to remember, and he wants me to know that he remembers me on Valentine's Day.
You really believe that he's looking down on you?
Oh, very much. Very much.
Now, the nature of terrorism we see includes unbelievable acts of brutality. Not too long ago, we saw 2 young boys of Nigerian origins attack and kill a soldier, beheading him on the streets of Woolwich in the UK. When you see things like that, what do you think?
You see, this is where my pain lies, because I was in London when drummer Lee Rigby, may his soul rest in peace, was brutally slaughtered in the streets of London. And I'm like, but I thought this was over, because what I kept saying at the time was that if only Anthony has died so that no other mother, no other woman will go through the pain that I have gone through, so be it then, let it be. And let no one know the pain that I have gone for losing my son the way I did on a bus bum. These are the things that actually ache my heart, because it's as if we've not gotten to the crux, to the root of the matter, why these things are happening. Why would a young man like the Adebanjo guy get up in the morning, take a dagger, a knife, a machete and say he's going to slaughter someone on the streets of London?
Let us take a break. When we return, we speak about terrorism in Nigeria and ask Dame Fatayi Williams if she believes it can be defeated. Please stay with us.